Okay, so this is the model, the bare model that we used in that video. And what I want to do is to go through the step-by-step guides from taking it from all the default settings to being ready to render. So these are the default settings that you get. You notice we've got incremental rendering so that we'll be able to play around with the settings once we get going. The default resolution is 4x. We actually know the scale of this object, of this model. So I can just take some measurements here and I can see that that's 8 centimeters across. And I've also got some details down in here that I want to be able to make sure the lighting captures. So let's just, that's about 10 centimeters across. So we're going to start out by just setting our lighting resolution to 5 centimeters. So that we're able to capture all the details we need to capture. Okay, let's just start this up and by pressing total, and we can see where we're up to. Okay, so we've got some lighting in there. We've also got the sun, so we're not interested in having the sun at this point. So let's just turn that off. You can see that this lighting is this ambient occlusion is quite dark. So what we can do, the reason is this multiplier is defaults to 0.5. So if we just set this up to 0.1 or 1.0, so you get a much brighter effect. Also, we've got these cutoffs presets. So ambient occlusion works by trying to determine how much light can arrive from the sky dome to a particular point on the surface. If we set it to interior, it checks a very short distance away before deciding that the light's escaped. And the result is you get, in these creases, in these corners, it's dark, but everywhere else it gets pretty bright. If I just turn lighting on, you can see that. If I press exterior, then it sets the cutoff for the test to be a ray that's about the length of the size of your model. So surfaces have to be able to entirely see the sky in order to get fully lit. And so you can see at the back here it's very dark. And the third one is custom, which allows you to set the distance, the cutoff distance directly. So here we've got 3 meters. If we set this to 10 meters, then what will happen is this surface can see the sky, so it's brightly lit. This surface at the back, only a little bit of the rays is able to escape. So we're going to go for exterior. And it's quite dark at the back there. We can, so the other thing is that if you just look at this with just lighting on it, you can see this is a slight blue tinge, and it's actually a sort of daylight color that is the default. It's set in bright RGB, and what we're going to do is just, I think for this, just set this to 1,1,1, a pure white color, so that we can just see what we're up to. The other thing we're going to do is to just turn this off. Is to just, this intensity control is after the lighting calculation is done. This is just a straight scale when it's applied to the rendering. So we can just turn this up. Here it's completely, we've got some real big burnout there, so we're just going to just get it nice and bright. Okay, so we've got our basic ambient occlusion there. Next, we've got some gutters down here with light sources. So I'm just going to click on Query Tool and click on that material and make it an emitter. And it's quite a big, long emitter, so I'm just going to reduce down the lux to, say, 50, because the actual surface area is quite large. And we'll start that going again. Okay, so you can see this gutter putting out light, and you can see it's kind of blotchy. And what that is the sampling of the area light is generating hotspots where they're too close to this wall. So what we can do about that is to just edit that again. Now this density is the density of the sampling of the area light. It's set to 1, which means it's going to be the same as the sampling of the rest of the model. If I can set this up to, say, 4, so it means that we're going to oversample, sample more finely just these area lights, so that we can reduce those hotspots a little bit. Okay, so that's a lot smoother over here. We're also, you'll notice that you get some artifacts, and these are due to the fact that we're using the incremental mode, and so it's skipping some of the filtering that we do for the full bake. So even the remaining little filtering hotspot artifacts we'll probably get, or we can remove once we do a full bake. The other thing we have here is some orange light source. So we're going to just click on that, make it an emitter, start again. Okay, that's extremely bright. So let's just drop that down to, say, 100. Okay, so that's a nice power. That's good. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to start adding start adding some reflections. But before that, just to add this backdrop. Currently, we've got a skybox here, which is just the default physical sky. But what we actually want is we'll just add a little sky, just move that around, get something that we want. Okay, good. Oh, and I think the other thing is we've got this light at the back. Let's just do the same thing as the gutter. So we're going to click that. I'm going to just make this, say, 50, and we'll put density at 4 as well. Just see how we go there. And so we can just have a quick check. Yeah, now we've still got some hotspots, but these will be filtered out once we do a full bake. So if I come back here, you can see we get a good effect. So the other thing we want to do is to just set some reflections. So just do that there. Okay, that's a little bit too much. We want to use this cutoff to just remove anything but the brightest reflections, and we're going to just blur it out a bit as well. Okay, that's good. So we're just going to reduce the Fresnel color. Good. So the other thing is we've got if I just turn, this is just lighting alone. Probably want to, we've got stroking on, which does an outline, and we can change the color of the outline, but I think for this we're going to just have no outline at all. Next we want to just add a little bit of vignetting, and let's just tweak the gamma a little bit. I'm just going to, I don't know, just warm it up just a little touch. Okay. Okay, so we're pretty much done. The other thing we want to do is to do a full light. So we're going to just turn that off and do a full bake, just so that we can then just do the final tweaks in the materials. Okay, so now we've got our final bake. You can see we've got a lot of these lights are a lot smoother now. The other final thing we've got to do with this smooth, polished stone wall, we want to add just a very, very slight reflections on it. So we're just going to edit that material, and we want no specular. We just want just a little, so that we get these reflections on the wall. And again, that's a little too much. I want to just cut that down and blur it out a bit. I'll just reduce the Fresnel 90-degree color as well. And that is pretty much set up, ready for rendering and generating movies.